Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen. So today we will be having a discussion on what are the tips and tricks of story writing or any form of write-up that we might need during any kind of expedition with respect to the writing part. Now let's look into the aspects of what is the difference between the short story or the story writing that is there in the literature. A short story could be something that will not have a definite end or a conclusive end to it. For example, there is always a suspensive element beyond it. In the kind of stories that we must write for SSB, it should be of the type where it is conclusive and giving an end. So if you're having the pen and paper, please make notes along with me. I have an inherent habit of making this kind of notes. 2014, that was the year when I got recommended in my first SSB from Bhopal, and that was for a technical entry. And after being a merit opener, I was a medical out, and my branch of engineering was electronics and instrumentation. So I'm going to give you my personal experience of how I handle the story writing over there, and what were the prerequisites that I have been keeping in my mind during school and college. Now, in general, writing is a form of expression where you will be having your you will express whatever is there in your mind. Now this could be developing right from the time in your school where you're developing the habit of essay writing, comprehension writing, essay writing, and subsequently. With respect to SSB, to keep it simple and short, the story must have a start. The story is not an investigation report, so you need not mention each and every particular of the elements that you read in that you see in the story or something or in the picture. Okay, it has to be narrated in the story format. It's not an investigation report like 2 things found, 3 things found, 4 things found, and a detailed report of it. Not like that. It must have a start. The start should be like what, where, when. And I'll come to the later part of how we can study report writing, and that will actually indirectly benefit your story writing. However, for the record of now, the story must have a start. It should proceed in succession. Okay, when I say this, that means there must be a sequence. For example, let's say a story starts, in between there is action, then there is climax, and then there is conclusion. Now as soon as it starts, it should not have a climax. Okay, so that should be the thing. Like the conclusive end should not be a climax, or the conclusive end should not be a question mark that the reader is figuring out, okay, where is the end? Is it solving something? Like, is there a question mark after that? No. And when I say question mark, that doesn't mean a legit question mark in the punctuation, but the kind of sentence that is written. It should not be a puzzle. It should have a conclusion. It should flow in a sequence. That is one event leading to the happening of another, one event leading to the happening of another event leading to the happening of another, and that is how conclusion must be reached. So that is in succession. Third, the conclusion must bring an end. For example, it should not be a predictive kind of a way where a person is startled or expecting that, okay, what next? Like we have in many TV series and many short stories that you will see, the story abruptly ends on a note and it leaves the reader to a kind of a question that, okay, what after this? That should not be the nature in a story writing. This is something I have personally done, and I feel that it has helped me. Now the prerequisites of developing the habit of story writing. There are 2 aspects that I want to give you as a homework. Please check it out in Google. The first is report writing, and the second is essay writing. When I say essay writing, it's PRECISE writing. Okay, so these 2 things were there in my ICSE and ISC curriculum, and that is something that has helped me a lot. Even if you Google it, and there are certain books like Total English, if I'm not wrong, they have this in detail. In report writing, what happens, if you have seen the newspaper columns, the report is very concise, it's crisp and short in less than 60 to 100 words, just like the requirement of a story writing length. It starts like what, where, when in a very specific tone. It gives the summary of events and it gives a conclusion. So I want you to go ahead and figure out how to build a report writing, especially if you see or you just read samples of report writing. And the best sample to read a report writing would be the newspaper. So you may begin with that. If not, you can go to Google, read out the images, read out some wiki articles of how to do a report writing, sample examples or sample templates of report writing and all that. Now, pressure writing is something different. Pressure writing is something that, let's say you have a large story. Now you have to reduce a story into 100 words. Okay, so or 60 words. This used to be a part of the school curriculum and to some extent in the college curriculum as well. If you know, pressure writing is something that is reducing the larger length of the volume to a smaller length. In this, what happens? You remove all the redundant kind of words, redundant facts, and redundant kind of lines that are there. For example, let's say any name. Person A was going from so and so place to so and so in the morning. Person A was going from so and so place to so and so. Dot. He or she was traveling in the morning hours. Dot. That dot is full stop. The person A was traveling in the train. Now these are three sentences. You can reduce them to one. Right? Person A was traveling in the train during the morning hours from so and so to so and so. Okay, so this is reducing the entire line. Now, how this helps? In this story, we come across a lot of unnecessary writing. I mean, I would say at times we try to exceed the word limit. Now, in the first stage, it may not hamper, but in the second stage, like after you get screened in, you have to write a series of 10 stories, right? So here your efficiency will matter. Here your efficiency will matter, your command over all the 10 stories in the 11th picture, and these things will matter. So speed and accuracy will matter. So when you get into the habit of pressure writing, you know how to reduce a larger fact into a single line. Okay, and that will end up into 100 words or whatever is the length that is there. So report writing and pressure writing is something that I want you to explore and go and read it for yourself. See how it is done, and this will in turn help you delivering a better form of story. Not just that, whenever you're going to write an email, whenever you're going to write a particular report in your industry, because sometime or the other you will become a working professional, right? So when you become a working professional, these things will help you a lot. Now let's go, after having the experience of report writing and the pressure writing, now you will be enriched of how to express things directly, that is what, where, when, and in a reduced number of words, removing all the redundant kind of words that are already there. So this will be the benefit. Moving to the next part, have a clear vision of description. Okay, see a person who is going for a walk. Let's say you are giving a particular start. You see a person who is walking, okay, or a person who is running. Now, a person who is going for a walk must have a source, must have a destination, and must have a reason, right? The reason could be anything. Like the reason could be the person is going from home to the grocery store to buy groceries. So this is also a reason. So you must focus on the details. These are the specific details where I would urge you to ponder on. For example, you see a picture like anything, you could see anything. There is always an underlying reason behind it. Always try to figure that out, and that should be noted in the story. Okay, so I hope you get the difference. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. Let's say we have a lot of pictures, let's say where a person is shouting at somebody, or a person is just walking, or a person is swimming. Then the person is swimming, that is a fact. But what is the reason? That will show your perception, and that is where things come into the picture. So to summarize, first is report writing, second is pressure writing, the third is reasoning. Now, when I say reasoning, it's not the logical and the non-verbal reasoning, it's about the reasoning of the particular fact that you state. Okay, so you must state these kind of facts. Now, this should take up somewhere around 3 to 4 lines of yours. Fourth part is grammar, which is the most important. If you think that you're not having a good command over the grammar, you must give 15 days of time to yourself, understand the 8 forms of the grammar that are there, right? The verbs, adverbs, the prepositions, the conjunctions. Understand the usage of those in the sentences. This will actually help you identify the tenses. This will actually help you to reduce the number of redundant words, and this will help you intangibly even in your written examinations. Okay, so give a greater foundation to grammar. Let's say you are having a laptop, or even in the smartphone, lot of spelling corrections or word suggestions are there inbuilt within a lot of applications. For example, if you go to Microsoft Word, or there is a extension called Grammarly, Okay, so what is the right form of word that instead of which, instead of the word which, which, we at times replace it with that, that. Okay, so these are the suggestions that will be there by extensions like Grammarly or Microsoft Word Editor, and I would urge you that whatever you are typing, whatever you are doing as a story writing, try to type it in the Word. See what are the keyword suggestions that are given by them. Okay, and then accordingly fix it. With the grammar and this kind of exercise, you will have a clear understanding of how to avoid making a grammatical error, because controversy or no controversy, grammatical error does cost a lot of things. And I therefore would like to request you to please go ahead, take the extra length of hard work and do this. It's just 100 words, type 100 words. See, already you are typing a lot of words in your WhatsApp messages or whatever you want to quote in the Insta DM and all that. You also get a word suggestion over there. So if you just type it in Google like a Microsoft Editor, it will show you in highlight in the red lines and what are the keyword suggestions out of it, what are the alternative synonyms that are there. So in this way, it will actually improve your stance towards writing, and this will not just play a role in story writing for your SSB, but also play a vital role in all the other aspects like your report writing in your workplace or anything like that. So please pursue this kind of thing. So fifth would be making the grammatical suggestions using tools like MS Word or Grammarly or anything like that. So these are the 5 points that I have for the story writing. After doing this, the only thing that remains is practice. So you must practice like there is no tomorrow. However, I would suggest you practice one, you get it audited, you get it checked. If you do not find, like there is nobody to check you or something like that, just go to the internet, just go find my grammatical error or grammar check for free or something like that and post your write-up over there. It will automatically show what are the areas where there is a fault, especially if it's a extension like Grammarly, it's a extension in Google Chrome, it's also there in Gmail. So if you just type your story in the Gmail text box, you need not mail it to anybody. In the text box where you are supposed to compose a mail, if you just type it over there, it will give you the automatic suggestions. So this will actually help you indirectly and will definitely have a greater impact to improvise your story writing. Now, the last point I would say is reference to a book. The reference to a book, the point that I have mentioned over here is you must refer to any SSB book, I would say, written by any author. Because it's always good to know the particular examination that you're going to give. Like for example, if you're going for SSB or you're going for anything like that, it's always a wise idea that you buy a particular book that is based on that particular exam and read end to end. Take any book. I wouldn't mention any specific author over here, but I would quote that whatever book you buy, read it end to end. When I say end to end, that means from the first word to the last word. I remember while I was traveling to Bhopal for my SSB, just 2-3 days prior, I had bought a random book. That time it was 2014 from any bookstore, random bookstore, and I read that book end to end, and that gave me a lot of clarity. Because see, when a book is covering all the aspects of a procedure of a particular examination, it also covers a lot of things like solutions are there, sample questions are there. So this will give you a fair idea. Now, we should not go with a preconceived notion about story writing that, okay, I have to write all in positive aspect or all in the future tense or all in the past tense. It depends and it matters upon to you. For me, it was something, my projection of story writing is what is a picture, what is the past behind the picture, what is happening in the picture, and something that is the future outcome. But whatever is the outcome, it may not be the past, present and future, it can also be in the past, but it should have a conclusive end. Here is the point. So for me, it was my stance that I could see that, okay, there is a past behind the picture, what was the background behind the picture, what is happening in the picture, and what could be the possible outcome. Whatever will be the possible outcome will have a conclusive end to it. So this is what matters. So always bring a conclusive end. If the story shows that you are kind of solving a particular problem or doing something with a base of initiative or something like that, it is actually helpful. Now you can always think on the broader perspectives. Like I remember during my second stage story writing, that is 10 pictures, I included a lot of things, like for example, a person who earned scholarship from the state government and so, including these kind of facts. So these kind of facts do play a role. That shows your versatility, the versatility of your thoughts. It shows how, like what is the spectrum of your thinking. And this is very important. Controversy or no controversy, I believe it has helped me. Although I do not endorse that this is the only way to go forward, however, I feel that it has subsequently benefited me. So even if there were 10 stories, when I include a lot of things, a lot of facts and figures or different ideas, it actually gives a different impression to the picture. So similar, like if there was a particular student or a person who was studying in the factory, I would like revolve a story around how big by his or her own work ethic, a person was able to work at the same time, like earn a living at the same time, work upon for a scholarship examination, secure it. And they need not be all defense oriented. They need not be all a particular theme oriented, that oriented with only with life saving or something. It could be an individual success story as well, or it could be an individual challenge winning or something. However, problem solving and these kind of things, they do have a greater impact, and this is something I also pursued it during my story writing. To conclude, I'll read out the 7 points that are there. I will also note it in the description. That is report writing, press writing, and giving the underlying reason behind the picture. Like if it's a moving picture, then what is the reason the person is moving? The grammar, making the grammatical suggestions using the tools like Grammarly and Microsoft Editor, and rectifying that. 6 is practice, 7 is reference to a book. With this, I believe all your story writing at whatever front it is, like whether it is for SSB or essay writing or anything, it will just be about a matter about the length. However, you will always have a structure to proceed, and structure is the most important part of a story writing, and that is precisely why I wanted to discuss this particular part. So I wish you all the very best with it. I'm not a certified SSB coach or something like that. I am here only to share my experience, how things had benefited me, how I'm keeping things constant in life, because even though we are in our working professionals, we have a lot amount, of work that we are engaging in, written communications, that is business communication and all that, how we are able to do that. And that is precisely the theme behind the video. So I wish you all the very best on this. Feel free to reach out to me. My email is roysajal5@gmail.com, and all my services related to this are voluntary. They are having no charges. So if at all any imposter is imposing that, asking for such charges or something and claiming with my video, please understand that this is purely a voluntary initiative and there are no charges ever involved. Okay, it's purely my service kind of a thing. Wish you all the very best behind it. Feel free to explore and practice, explore a lot of other horizons. Read good literature, understand the writers behind the literature, and one day you'll be a very fine writer. Wish you all the very best. Take care.